Thank you so much for staying tuned, and we are here to really take a look at the just concluded Osun State election. The collation of results is still ongoing, so we're not here to talk about the results, not at all, but just the processes before, during the election. And of course, after the election, what transpired. In pre-election, you get to see workers receiving alerts. They were so happy that after years, months of not being paid, and finally they got a lot. The government chose to respond immediately. And of course, we also heard about 13,000 plus police or security personnel being deployed to Osun State because of the election, and pundits have different opinions about that. We also heard allegations of vote buying. People like saying that vote buying is like it has come to stay in Nigeria. Mind you, trying to draw an analogy to the elections that will come up in 2019. You get to hear votes being sold and bought for 10,000 naira, some 5,000, some 2,000, depending on the strength of the party financially. You get to hear also of an app being used right now for new twists in vote buying. Yes, WhatsApp. Just I've done this, these are the pictures, these are that. Where's my money? Confirm alert your bank account and stuff like that. And of course, the law put in place by INEC to foster vote buying. Why didn't it work in some climes? These are questions bedeviling the mind of so many persons. What about the conduct of INEC? What are the opinions of international observers? All these and more we'll take a look at on this discussion segment. Me here in the studio, I have a political analyst. I like to call him voice of the masses. You get to hear when there is food on the table, you're not going to have much complaints and all that. Jimmy, welcome. Obaraye Osahon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you, God bless
you. All right, Morrison Ogunrobovia is on his way. When he comes, he's just joining with a discussion. Now, Obaraye, we've had series of complaints, series of thumbs up and some thumbs down for the conduct of the Osun State election. So what are your views on this? Before we start talking about complaints, allegations, and counter accusations.
Thank you so much, brother Wilson. God bless you. I think as we speak for the very just now, coalition is still ongoing in Osun election. So what we're going to really talk about is the process before the coalition. I did my best throughout yesterday, the day before yesterday, constantly before now, to make sure I was 24/7 online, following news on campaign, security issues on the Osun election. To me, I think Osun election will go down history, whichever way it goes, as an eye-opener to our party come 2019. Eye-opener indicates that if you take a look at the Ekiti election, Osun election is also now a bit better. The people now know that if we decide with one voice, we can really make a change. So the story is now getting clearer. Getting clearer in the state that I will use my normal Ishan adage that it will say, it's now time people will now ask, what have you done? Not trying to now give us a Mary Kay makeup when election is 24 hours to go, when election is now at the doorstep. So people now know that if you must let us vote for you back again, immediately we vote for you, start doing things right. PDP, we talked about the Ekiti election when also, and I told you that it will be hard for PDP to get it because PDP made sure that the people of Ekiti, the workers mostly, was in hunger.
That they couldn't pay salary in the Ekiti state.
Yes. Oh, now you can see that the same thing now like boomerang to us, the APC, because Osun also did not also pay salary bulk on ground. So you cannot eat your cake and have it. What the people now did to say, okay, are you not going? The vice president came with 10,000 people. To me,
no, hold on. There's no need for accusation.
Okay, I'm not accusing Wilson. I don't accuse people. Are you getting it now? Why will I accuse you when, if you don't want somebody to talk negativity about you, constantly be on the side of positivity? Are you getting it now? You can't tell me I saw you at Big Town Hotel. You are telling me why you tell me inside the follower shower. When I know where I saw you, it's not in a good place. So that don't deviate from it. The truth now is that we are getting it harder now to win because what we did, the foundation, the political foundation of APC in Osun is a shaky foundation. That is just the truth. Because if it was not shaky, don't you see? Okay, let's take Lagos as a case study. You can see the Jagaban, Tinubu, even changing the goalpost in the middle of the match.
Now, all right, now, that tells you. You know what, Obaye, I want to caution you on name calling right now, because since they are not here to really defend themselves, it would be unwise for us to start cutting their hair when they're not around.
Okay, my brother Wilson.
I know that you're a party man.
Don't worry,
you are speaking the truth.
You see, my brother
but
Wilson.
They're not here to defend themselves.
You see.
Yeah.
Most times, when you give me chance to talk, and we decide to talk, and you try telling me that things you and I know are plain, I say somebody should not talk.
I'm not saying definitely govern the airways.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
You know, if I decide to lie here, I need 1 million lies to defend that lie. So if I say it, I will just leave without remembering anything. These are facts. Now I'm telling you that the problem we are suffering now, the reason why you are saying the political tension in Osun is that the party ruling in Osun is ruling on a shaky foundation. If the party was with the people and the masses, you don't need to start shouting. Now, I also told you, I said the people now know their value, the people now know their worth. Are you getting it? So, even when INEC came up with the issue of don't buy vote, to me, it was also another April Fool news. Why I say call it April Fool news is that you said it in Abuja, you said it in Osun. Will you say it at the point, each of the polling units? Will you be there when issues have been happening? Will there be any way you tell me, if I also say it now, you start saying, Oba, stop issue. So you are making me not like follow Gallo. Will there be any way it will be cautioned at the very point? So the issue of vote buying, INEC has said it, but to me, it's not what we leave for the now. What people need is continuous education on you can do it right. For INEC to go to the issue of vote buying, they should distance where vote is being taking place from where the people come from. It should be well secured. It should be well secured. Police far from there, everybody far from there. It should be like you taking your decision, just like you are going to the toilet. Take your decision at that point. Don't go with phone. When you are coming, seal it up, put it at that place. That it will be minimal, checking where the vote is ongoing better, because it has happened several times that even when you share money and you don't monitor the people that are voting, you lost the vote. Are you getting it now? Even when we decide to share 20,000, 30,000, when you share it and you don't monitor them to the point, you lost that place.
So for what you say, the INEC is absolutely correct for telling them not to go into the polling cubicle with their phones.
God bless you. That is the nail. They hit the nail on the head. Don't go with your phone, but they should do it furthermore by making sure the place is as secure as just like if you are here now, you tell me go into where you do say your news. Take any decision and come back. If I take it and come back, it does not really matter. But if you tell me to take it here, I will try to think: is Wilson not watching? Is people not watching? I get it. That there is that divided mind. It takes. I was talking to my friend Eduardo yesterday, someone we discussed. I said, if 1,000 voters decide to come to ITV to vote on election day, the people that really want to come and vote their conscience, that left home to say, I'm going there now to vote, this is person I want to vote for, Inami, are less than 100 of the 1,000. The people coming here to come and say, which one they say they share money inside? They are here say that they share money are over 800 in Nigeria face of election. If you have 1,000 persons here to vote now, to say the ones that left their home to come and vote. That's why sometimes you just see you see somebody voting for APGA, you see somebody voting for AD. After counting, or not that the person don't know what to vote for, it's the person's conscience to say, I think APGA's candidate is better. So even though my vote I know it might not win, but let me just give it to him. You will vote and go home. When you tell them about money, they will look at you and say, for what? But the main people, the market women, the artisans, the youths that comes there on that day, most of them, the first question they will ask you, if they see a tag on you or outside is, my brother, which one they say they share money? Not which one will do the work. Not which one has been doing the work.
So why this trend?
Political illiteracy. Political not get sense. Let me put it down so you understand. I think that is the problem with our people. Because if at this age, you've walked from your home, you've walked 10 miles and you see that the road you are walking on is not good, you've been at home for about 3 weeks, no light, you know in your area there's no water, you know if rain falls in your area, the next thing, everything about you is gone, you know security in your hood is not good, and you still leave the house on election day to go and ask which one they say they give money. So you can see the person is already in prison, even walking out freely. That person is in prison. The person does not have the political consciousness to say, this is what I want, how I want it, and where I want it. So the problem with Osun election, what you see now that I'm telling you, they have to do it money upon money. The money the government of Osun has spent on Osun election would have paid people in arrears.
Paid up in arrears?
Yes.
Okay, now before we go into the money being spent by the government in Osun State election, but is that there's an increase in money, talk about vote buying. At first in Ekiti, we heard the news that at least a vote can be bought with, let's say, 2,000, 1,000, 5,000. But now, from the reports we are getting, that some persons sold their vote for as high as 10,000. That seems to be the benchmark, so to speak, according to reports and allegations. How come the money is increasing?
In 2019, it will be more.
Why? Why this trend? I mean,
political illiteracy one, hunger increasing. So the person that traded his or her election for 3,000 before and did not still get any political enlightenment, political education from now till then, we come with an increase, with increase bargain. To say, we shall say they share money, I no want to do 3,000, I don't know, and 5,000 I will do. The person will come negotiating. And at that point, you also need the person. So you also now negotiate the bar. So what we need to do is to political orientation, not don't share money, don't share money. When 80% of the people coming to vote are asking who will give me money, then what happened in Ekiti is now it's just like the fight between the last night boxing bout between Pastor Joshua and
vote came.
So yes, I get it now. It took him to the 7th round because what the other guy that he knocked out was also powerful. If it was the fight, the guy was on his feet until the 5th, 6th. So what happened in Osun, if you take a case study, is that their delicate family is not also somebody you just say go and sit down. If you say one, they can say 10.
So now from what you're saying, it was like money fighting.
Money meets money. Money met money on election. That was what happened. We cannot shy away from the truth. That immediately I heard that PDP gave it to a delegate. I said, wow, my party is going to have a very big fight. Why? As we speak now, Davido is an idol to the youth. It's we think you don't need people pay 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 to watch Davido live. Then you are seeing him live to come and sing. Are you getting what I'm not to say? So to me that was a big factor. You don't know who be Davido. Why are you now you want to say who is Davido? So to me, Davido's factor, the family Adeleke's factor, and the man himself, the senator Adele Adeleke, who might also be factor to herself, though very funny, but is they call him the dancing senator. From the angle is coming from, dancing is like hobby.
All right.
From the angle, we are not talking about a man from the north.
All right. All right. Now let's take a look at this. Even international observers to observe about vote buying, they complained about it, and this has been on for quite a long time. You talked about political illiteracy, but despite the Enlightenment campaign being carried out by the media houses, even the National Orientation Agency, it's like they are not listening. Why is it so?
Yeah, my brother, the question you ask, my brother, may God will give you longevity. Are you getting it down? The truth is that it will continue to be so until our leaders do things right. There is hunger. There is hunger. I've told you, election in same places, let's say take America as a case study, take Canada, Australia as a case study, when you know that food is on everybody's table, you don't need to force anybody to say you must vote for me or give the person money. 80%, I just told you that even in Nigeria, we still have people you don't need to buy their conscience. So what we have is hunger and greed. Hunger and greed. I know of a rich family in Benin here, we are bloodly related, that all of them are overseas, permanent secretaries living. But if they are in a party, you still see them gathering food. They gather the food to pack and go home. The whole guy is no longer against people, but that one is greed. But 90% of them is, I always said that I've always given you example. This woman keeps reoccurring of somebody without job. She plaits hair. The husband, the mechanic, my Mercedes mechanic, back of where I vote at SEG. She plaits hair. The son is already learning how to dry clean. So she has about kids that are over 18, let's say 4. Where they stay is 2,000-3,000. The landlord no longer cater for where they stay. So they just, there's poverty. When you see them, you know there's poverty here. On election day, it's like Christmas, New Year to that family. Because that is the only period that if you give them 3,000 or 4,000, and about 5 of them, they go into that home with 20,000-30,000. That is the only period. Apart from that one, and that is what they know they can enjoy from government, because even where they are, no light, no road. Are you getting that? So you don't need rocket science to tell you that that woman will come and ask you, I want to vote for this person to do the road for me. No. The hunger in that woman's own is, let me save my tummy first. Are you getting it now? Before even saving another person, talking about another person. So the government of Nigeria is all arranged in a format that what they do is make the people hungry. If we don't give them money, if we don't pay their salaries a year to the election, and few days to election, we pump them with 20,000, 10,000 people, voter apathy will be high. That is what those bourgeois sit down to discuss. They don't want to let you know that if we make light 24 hours in Nigeria, it will give job to over 5 million people. That 5 million people, never again can you convince them by election. You cannot convince a barber or a welder that has access to 24 hours light. Because I know of a barber that gets approximately 6,000-8,000 daily. So think of it, how much is a level 8, level 10 salary when somebody gets 5,000, less than 5,000 daily times the month? You can see that that person is already working close to 80-something thousand home. a barber, he buys fuel. But think of it that he has straight 24 hours electricity. Think of the weather that does gate, that has straight 24 hours. So you will see that money in the system will skyrocket. People will now know their left from their right. Hunger will not just vanish entirely, but at least will now be a thing of the passage of people's home. When election comes, when you go and complain to them, they never have a chance to listen to you because they are working. When the Baba comes on election day, it's I beg I won't get time. I beg give vote and go. No. Because he is a money making machine. So the government knows that if they give them light, they will see the light. No need to give them light. If we give them road, they will move well. They will forget about. So let's just give them some makeup issues and let it be continued. My brother, the truth must be told. Election money buying issue is a thing that, to me, has come to stay. Because why is it staying?
Has it come to stay?
Yes, why is it staying? Why is it staying? Why is it staying? Our leaders want it to stay because they know that is the only way they can connive and garner more votes. That is just the truth. They know. If they don't know, if our leaders here today carry all Nigerian leaders, I'm not talking about party here, carry all of them, take them to Australia to go and govern, carry Australian government and come here. This set of people, if they go to Australia, they will still negotiate people to say, come and take money, come and take $1, come and take $2, or and whatever money they use, take for election buying. That is what they know. They don't know how to give you what will sustain you for lifetime. What they give to you is what they know. If they give to you on Friday, by Monday, Tuesday, you are back to the street. No one will call you to say, my friend, come. What is the issue? Okay, let's do this one together. If they will tell you, no, the one I tried before didn't work. I get it now. So you can see that it all still boils down to the bad leadership syndrome that Nigeria leaders are enjoying. They've been enjoying it since 1999. They are still enjoying it. They know that once Wike Marshal gets the link to enter into their midst, and they see that you are trying to let them know this is not done well, look at how it's done, they squeeze you out. You know, this one cannot work with us. How can this one be telling us to fix things right? They don't want to hear that. What they want to hear is when you tell them, do you know you can siphon money through this glass place? This guy is a brilliant person. So that is the facet of what is happening. So to me, I don't know whichever way result is going now from the coalition we've been following. I didn't say, all right, this morning, 50-50 it has gone. But it's going to be an eye-opener to whoever wins and whoever loses. Whoever wins will now know, to God be the glory. This fight was not easy. I'm here now, we'll do things right. Whoever loses will now say, this fight was a tough fight. I will come back again and fight again. That is what is going to happen. So I don't want us to just go, but it's a fight. I don't think the smile on Joshua's face last night was not a full sign of a smile of victory. Was a smile of, this guy, you are hard. You gave me some knock, but thank God the one I gave you made you fall. That was the smile. Normal smile of victory, you know it, because it's also a lazy person. So that is just the truth. When we were discussing about Ekiti election in this place severally, I told you, I said, my brother Fayose, if he knew that he was the last man standing in Southwest, he would have made Ekiti the synergy of all eyes in Southwest. He would have made sure Ekiti workers come first. He would have made sure Ekiti people come first. Nothing would have stopped Fayose to forgo security vote, to do everything, to make sure everything was right, to become a legend. Right. At least being celebrated today.
All right, now let's take a look at this money issue. If, from what you said, that it has come to stay, what is now the hope of the not too young to run bill? Now, if you know that most youths, even if they have the heart to run for elective offices or positions, They may not have the money to throw around. So what's their own fate right now? What is their fate?
You are asking me the same question. I just shelved down I just digested in answer.
Because right now we're talking about the not too young to run.
Not too young to run bill. My people that were doing it in Benin reached me and discussed with me about it. And I told them that this is also another April message for you people. By God's grace, I've been privileged to be active politically since 99. Active. I participated before 99. So when it comes to politics also, if it was to be a school, I think I should be going now to the zenith of that place. What is not too young to run bill? What was the issue on ground before? You want to now run. What is the things on ground? What has government put in place on ground for the people, the youth that want to run? Is it not the person that has eaten at home that will have the zeal to shout outside? Have you seen somebody that has not eaten for 7 days lying down? A strong man, after the third day, when you talk calling, he hardly hears. When you want to open his eyes with the last strength, he cannot wave, he cannot see anything. What government would have done, leave not too young to run bill. No, leave it, don't do that. Bring food for these people first. If they eat and they see work to do, they will have sense first. They cannot even now say, okay, if no need for us to run, let's change the system. Let's change the system. Must everybody run? Must everybody contest opposition? When you are already 18, no need, let's change the system, let's change this person, let's do this one, let's come together because we have eaten. You want to run to where now? Let them run now. How can you run in a system where you know everything about Nigeria election is money, money, money? Where will a youth of 25, 30 in a decent family, a father permanent secretary, a mother maybe a retired administrator or a businesswoman, how can that youth with a master's degree holder raise 100 million to vote for election? My brother, if you want to contest for House of Assembly now, as we speak for the very just now, you need a minimum of 100 million if you are very popular. You need it. Not don't say I'm Musi or Masha, go my name. No. For ye shall know the truth. The truth shall set you free. The people are hungry. The people that will follow you for campaign, if they follow you and trek with you from here to Selu Market for campaign, and they trek back again to University of Benin, if you tell them to go back again, nobody will follow you. Nobody, because the strength is no longer. You buy pure water for them. You are going to make say, okay, give madam beg, go and give the food. Those things are going to cost money. So what the youth would have fought for was to make sure things are already on ground, put in place first. Leave them. Government, no, we don't have looking at the door, but give us farm land. Government, give us light. Government, give us light. Government, give us light. You pretend as if life is not important. And the foolishly will just give you light. That is the end. You'll be liberated for life. That's the truth. With time, things will naturally fall in shape and take shape. I want to run to where? Now, the party has told you no independent candidate. The party is selling phone now. Some for 45 million, some for 25 million, some for 10 million. Even if you are a Yahoo boy, a youth, and you have not 10 million, will you risk it for politics? Even you are Musi or Masha, Esama has blessed you and now gave you 50 million. You now say, no, I want to go and contest election. But you are digging your grave now. Why not go first of all? Settle yourself first. Settle yourself. Eat your own. You be okay first before starting outside. You are saying not too young to run, not too young to run. Where are you running to when you don't have what it takes to run? And what does it take to run? Leave it. Yes, you are qualified. The youth, oh, wise, good. I know they win, they will do it. But how can you break into that system? Can somebody just, we are in the studio now, can a man just walk from maybe Bubahi, just walk down to this studio and sit here? No! It takes time. It takes following. It takes really keep going before you break in. When you're not breaking, so that's how it's done here. Okay, let me do this right. So the no too young to run bill issue, the party has told you, go and bring 10 million. You that want to now run, that you say you want to run for at the age of 35, where have you worked that would have been able to raise that money that you want to run with? Okay, you want to look for sponsorship. Okay. Who will sponsor you and not expect something in return? How many people? How many? Who is going to sponsor Osawa Kwabaya? And naturally tomorrow the person might not want to ask you anything. And you on your own in Nigeria issue, use your brain to say, no, they sponsored me, let me leave them. People will remind you of what happened to Igige when he was kidnapped, even as a governor. Because they were Kabaza sent him. And they wanted to go against the first law of power. Also what the present, the outgoing governor of Lagos State suffered. Never ashamed the master. 48 laws of power, if you read it, that's the first law. So what happened is that naturally the Nigeria political structure stands on leadership. But that leadership, rather that is standing on followership back. If the followership know their right and just stand up, that is the end. Leadership will just fall. Also, the leadership ladder, Nigeria leadership ladder, is standing on followership back. But the followership don't know that if they decide to stand and walk like this, that is the end of the leader standing up there. Because they can't do what we are doing. They can't. So what we would have done was to make sure naturally in the next 10-15 years, in the next 10-15, in 2 elections from now, which is 8 years or 16 years, these not too young to run people will not become leaders. So,
all right.
I get it down.
Okay. Now you just hold on. We want to go for a break. You've heard about he's been speaking. From his mind is all about the Osun election review. We're not talking about results or any other thing, just what Nigerians are really expecting when we talk about election. We talked about vote buying. We talked about also the not too young to run bill, knowing fully well that money is involved. They talked about money being earmarked, money being set aside for election. He gave an example also of the 2 strong powers. You want to call it principalities in Osun State. None is a pushover. And he talked also about money fighting in Osun State. And now it's that the stakes are higher than before. In Ekiti State, we heard that it was 5,000. We heard that it was 2,000, 1,000. But for what we are hearing right now, if what we heard is anything to go by, let's say it's 10,000. Has it come to stay? Anyway, just joining us right now in the studio is a politician, a one-time chairman of VIA. Yes, a local government area, Morrison Ogorobo of VIA. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you came a tad bit late due to appointments.
So sorry about that.
All right. It's okay. Now, Abaya has been taking us on a roller coaster ride, positively opening the eyes of our viewers out there on his take on the Osun State election, linking it to the 2019 election. Is all about the road map. So what are your opinions about what is transpiring right now in Osun State, pre-election and of course the election proper? We're not talking about the post-election because they are still collating the results, so we don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, the aspect of vote buying. Even international observers, they observe that it seems to be higher. Talking about the price, we got to hear 10,000, as much as 10,000.
Yes, thank you very much. You see, the truth of the matter is we must begin to speak truth to power. Long before now, we've been keeping quiet, not because we do not want to talk, but we just try to see, you know, how we can study the political terrain. As we speak, what you see today transpired in Osun. It is the protest of the people. The people a little bit disenchanted. And apart from that, INEC has gotten to a stage where ringing election is not as easy as what it used to be. And the only option left is for contestants to be buying the conscience of the electorates right at the spot of voting. Now, that is where I begin to blame the electorates themselves. You want a better government. You want a leadership that is responsive to the yearnings and aspirations of the people. You as an individual, you have a mindset of voting for party A. When you get to the polling unit where you are supposed to cast your vote, you are influenced by money that is given to you. And by so doing, you change your mind. At the end of the day, party B wins. You begin to say that the election was rigged. When you, the electorate, sold your conscience, sold your voting rights, sold the opportunity for you to make things right, you decide to sell it out because of a pot of porridge. Of course, at the end of the day, you will not have a stake in the government. And even while you're in your closets and people are criticizing the inability or the inefficiency of an administration, you have no moral justification to criticize because you have already sold yourself. That is the truth, and that's what you are saying. And Osun State is just a test case. In other subsequent elections, you will see how people will prepare themselves because they must spend money. Because most people, as they assume office, it's like the electorates are not happy with what is happening. So as a result, they feel that the only way they can get out of whosoever eventually emerged as, you know, the flag, as the winner of the election, that the only time they can get something is during the vote. But I must say this: if Nigeria must grow, we must begin to do things rightly. Let's begin to celebrate merit and excellence. Let's take away mediocrity out of this whole thing. Let's look at content, competence, and capacity. At the time we look at all this and we leave our various homes for casting our votes, let's stick to what our conscience tells us. Let's look at the various categories of individuals who are placed or who are vying for a position, and let's take away sentiment. Let's begin to build solid institutions, individuals that can continue to strengthen our institutions. Those are the things we should be looking at, and not, you know, people who maybe because of one reason or the other, as a result of pity or sentiment, you begin to say, no, we have to support this person for what reasons? Don't we look at the future of this country? Don't we look at tomorrow? Don't we look at people who at the end of the day will be able to tap our chest to say, yes, we are confident that so and so persons that we voted in are people who have the intellectual ability, are people who have the delivery ability, are people who can actually represent the people properly. Those are what we should be looking at. And let's take away sentiment, because it is so sad that in this 21st century, people bring in sentiment to overcloud their sense of judgment. We should bring people who can speak truth to power. We should bring in people who know the main reason why they are there. We should bring in people who, at the end of the day, they have their conscience to speak to and to ask themselves critical, fundamental questions. If the opportunity that was given to me, was I able to live to expectation? It's a very, very fundamental aspect that every aspiring office, public office holder should always have in his mind, not at the back, right inside his mind, the essence at which I am canvassing or seeking for elective position. Am I going there to represent the interests of the people, or am I going there because I just want to go there and get the perks of office that goes with it? These are fundamental questions we must ask ourselves. So what you see today taking place in Osun, because I could even see in some of the social media where people were caught with bunches of thousands of naira, you know, to influence electorates. At the end of the day, plus the man who is influencing and the electorate who is collecting to sell his conscience, they are furthering, messing up the process of picking a credible acceptable candidates that will stand the test of time, that will meet with the yearnings and aspirations of the people. I think we must change our psyche and begin to think right and appropriately, because Nigeria must not continue to remain where it is today. I keep saying that the governance of this country transcends beyond an individual. It's a collective responsibility that both the electorates and those at who are the helms of affairs must work together. The man who is at the helms of affairs must take decision at the right time. He must ensure that what the people need from a leader is being given to them. And the electorates too, it is expected that the cooperation and support that is needed from the electorate is also given, to the leadership, so that the synergy can be well, put together to get a positive result.
All right. Now, from what he said before you came in, he talked about vote buying coming to stay. Do you share that opinion?
Yes, for now, I want to share that opinion, because that is the only way at which, electionary process can be influenced. Why? Other aspects that would have been, tend to suppress the vote buying has been taken care of. And so, as a result, it is very, very difficult for elections to be rigged or influenced, except in an area where there's a connivance between the party agents that are there, or maybe the party agent is influenced by one of them through finance, and that is when such things can actually scale through. But as we speak today, INEC has been able to up their standard of monitoring elections and conducting elections, where you cannot just come and ring out elections outrightly. It is not possible. So the quickest option will therefore be looked into, and that is the buying of election. It is going to continue for a while until a strategy is put in place to check the buying of electorate or vote at the various polling units. And you know what? This buying of this electorate, it's not that it is actually done openly. What happens is that the agents who are there are the ones who give signal to somebody who will say this person has actually voted for my party. And he will be directed to somewhere where these things will be collected. And that is what is happening, because that is the only way that elections can be influenced. Excluding that, it is not also possible. Then another area I would really want INEC to work on is the issue of carrying people who are not indigenous of a particular environment. For the purpose of election, you go mobilize people somewhere else to come and register in your unit, because you want to take charge of that unit, so that at the end of the day, they will say you are the one winning the unit. And I begin to wonder, because if you, as an individual, you study the political terrain of democracies in other countries, you will know that Nigeria electoral system will not continue to remain like this. There must be some level of improvement as it progresses. Now, I don't know whether these people who are involved in this stock and trade sit down to think, if tomorrow the database of INEC becomes centralized, where an app is developed, when you register in a particular state and you go to register in another state, automatically one of the voting centers will be deleted. What now happens to you if you were moved from point A, that is your original origin, to another place because you are influenced with money to go and register, and they now develop a system that can check that? At the end of the day, the new place you now voted will now be accepted, and your real origin is now deleted. And at the time you want to now vie for a position, and they now said, well, unfortunately, you are not registered in your own unit or your own ward, what now happens? I think Nigerians should begin to think that all these little things that people use them to carry out, all for the purpose of small stipends, they should understand that the electoral system is developing. INEC will be involving, a lot of new modern system that will help them to check this. At the time those things are checked, I assure you that though you cannot get a perfect situation, but you can get up to 90. In fact, if you write an exams that is scaled under 100% and you are able to get above 60%, of course you say you performed very well. So I would want to appeal to INEC that they should develop a strategy, an app that can help them to check these excesses. Because that is actually when you know whether your people are with you. It is not when you go mobilize people from outside or from another states to come and register in your local government or to come and register in your ward because you want to take charge of that ward. At the end of the day, right, if this app is developed and it can detect an individual or an electorate that has registered in 2 places, one of the places is deleted. That to a large extent will also help to reduce all these electoral malpractices.
All right, we want to go for a break. When we return, we'll take a look at the presence of security personnel in elections, because right now many persons are like saying that we are not at war. Why they have a presence of security agents? We'll be right back after this break.
TMI, every opinion counts.
It's all about the Osun State election and of course the roadmap to 2019. We've almost exhausted the issue of money politics, and from what my discussants agreed to, decide unless if something is done, it has come to stay. Just imagine the differentials in prices. Osun and Ekiti, 1, 2,000, 5,000 from what we're hearing. If there's anything to go by, in Osun at least 10,000. Is it subject to bargain? And why is it on the increase? And what is the hope of the youth that really want to run in an election comes 2019? Anyway, now let's talk about the security situation in course of the election. Pundits are like saying that security presence is just too much, that we are not at war. So how do you see this? Let me start off from Morrison.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is, for me, because Nigeria is a developing democracy, anything can happen. Until when we are not imbibed with the culture, ethics, norms, and values of democratic process, then we'll begin to do things rightly. If you give any inch, you will see the way election period will be turned into a war zone because of the desperate nature of contestants who want to assume or who want to get into office desperately, and they are ready to go at any length to ensure that it come to pass. So their supporters, the supporters of contestant A and the supporters of contestant B will go into serious victimization of each other. So without the presence of security, how do you tend to curb such situation? For me, I think it was ideal for the presence of heavy security.
It was ideal?
Yes, for me. I don't care about what other people's opinion is. I'm only expressing my own opinion.
Candidates in the
when
election,
you have security on
including
ground, intend to check so many abnormalities, because sometimes for the reason of 10,000 naira, somebody can mess up somebody. You understand me? Unjustly, simply because maybe he's supporting another candidate, and maybe there are only few persons supporting candidate B in a particular polling unit. Without the presence of security, it means that they will be lynched, and for that reason, I think that the presence of security is very ideal for now, so that you can, maintain peace and order.
Okay.
Until when democratically the Nigerian electorates are now enlightened, they are educated, politically, they are now politically conscious, they now know the do's and the don'ts. At the end of the day, we'll begin to see a more cleaner, smoother, and safer process of election in Nigeria.
All right, Obara, from what he said that to him, it's ideal to have this heavy presence of security personnel. Do you toe the same line with him?
Yeah, with your sentence, I won't toe the same line. There's heavy before security. You said heavy security. So the heavy is what I want us to really talk about. If we take out that heavy, I would toe his line to say, yes, actually we need the presence of security personnel in our various voting centers to scare away intimidation, to scare away, minimize intimidation, minimize ballot snatching. But the truth also must be said. The truth is that heavy in what sense? Are we truly in a war zone? What was yesterday with the police report yesterday, they should be able to tell us, were they able to make sure those that were buying this was arrested? Were they able to? So to me, if you have 1, 2, 3, because actually live ammunitions are not allowed in the terrain over there. So just for you to sit down there, let them say security money is here. So to me, the heavy should be, because if you also look at the money being spent on it, I think I read about it about a week or 2 ago, that they were paying the other couple 50,000, the other one, the other 200-something-thousand. Like, so I mean, those are money that would have been able to at least put food on people's table. That is where me always come from. If we also say, okay, people, police, soldiers that want to go and fight Boko Haram, a day 50,000 for you. The other, the sergeant also 200,000 for you. And we know that the soldier men and the security people fighting Boko Haram are happy. The history of Boko Haram, we know distance time fade away. So we need a heavy security presence in war zones. But in the electoral area, we need security, not heavy. We need minimum just to sit. In normal election, you see, because the security people, we have police, we have the DSS, we have the road safety during elections, we have the those ones that wear blue, civil defense corps. They are all there on election day. So by the time we have all this, to me, it's uncalled for. Where we really need the heavy security are those places where they just killed somebody and showed the video that if you don't talk to us, we kill our Christian girl Lee. Are you getting that? So to me, Nigeria government should sit right. I'm happy with with whatever outcome that Osun election is going to bring. I'm going to be very happy. The reason why I'm going to be very happy is that, as I told you before, is going to make the structural leadership of Nigeria sit well. It's going to make them know, oh, it's no longer fight as usual. People now know. I get it that even yes, people now know that 3,000 is no longer valuable. Give us 10,000. They thank God they should be aware. So a time is coming when they now say, give us 50,000 per vote. The leadership will no longer be able to provide that money. They will provide it for roads. They will provide it for food. They will say, no need. For me to not go and spend 1 billion to buy vote, let me use this 1 billion to put food on people's table. Let me use it to employ 1,000, 2,000 people. So to me, people are not getting, they should ask for 20,000. Yes. Seriously? Yes, they should ask for 20,000. Yeah, I'm not like supporting it. Okay. I'm saying it so that it will scare away people coming to ask you. If I know I want to meet with your marshal and take something for him, and I know with your marshal's bill is 50,000, and I negotiate say 40, I'll look for someone that will give me 20. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So by the time you post up, thank God they now know to say, okay, 3,000 can no longer take you. It's now 10,000 in the show. But that is governorship. Somebody that asks for 10,000 for governorship in Osun, will that person ask for 10,000 in presidential election? Let's fuck out ourselves. I get it now. They already now know. So thank God they are knowing that they need it more. So by the time the person that wants to pay you more sees to say, okay, if I wish to go, if I give him 50,000 continuously, why don't you let me gather that 50,000 and employ more 50 people?
Right.
I get it now. Let me give them 10,000 every month as stipends for a farm work. Those 50 people, they are now I cannot control their votes.
Okay.
I get it now.
All right, now it's time for us to commence our decision because I'm getting strong signal from our PD that our time is up. You are going to give your last line on this discussion. From what has transpired in various elections, Ekiti and of course Osun inclusive, what's your own predictions come 2019? Let me start off from you as a way of closing this discourse.
The truth of the matter is APC should go and work very hard. APC should, you know, give sense of belonging to its party members as well as the Nigerian electorates. The political consciousness of Nigerians electorates are gradually developing. They're becoming more conscious, and people want to see a responsive administration, an administration that will meet the yearnings and aspirations of the people. It's not going to be business as usual. People will want to vote their conscience. And I'm seeing a situation where even with the money, they may not even have influence over what is happening. So it is important at this junction that every party must involve itself into political consciousness.
All right, into political consciousness. Obaraye, quickly, 30 seconds.
Thank you so much. But I think this is a very good one. My advice to, I see APC winning 2019. No, listen, no. This is my
no. Hold on now. There is no PDP to say yes or no. So I want to leave that for now.
Okay,
we don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, this is my party.
We know who's going to win. We know who's going to win.
But we must go back to the drawing board. I get it now. No man will want his or her child to die. That's not the truth. So we must go back to the drawing board so we can get things right. With the fight that has happened in Ekiti and Osun, it's no longer sweatless as before. I get it now. The days where you just say 18/18, people are now getting to know. People are now asking more questions. People are now verifying what to say. No, you tell us. So since people are now ready to know, it's now high time take more people back to the drawing board. I get it. If we go back to the drawing board to say, okay, what was the problem with Osun? We didn't pay salary. Okay, let's pay salary. What was the problem with this? Okay. If we don't go back to do it, I also foresee us.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate your wonderful analysis. Top notch. Let's just see what is going to happen from what both of them agreed. So it's the political consciousness is getting more and more. Take a look at the price difference from 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 to 10,000. People are getting more and more conscious. But how is it going to help our politics?